Hello, this is Father Scott Liana from St. Thomas of Canterbury Episcopal Church in Greendale. And I want to just reflect a little bit with you today on the gift of joy. This morning, as is the case most mornings, as I'm just beginning to wake up, I hear the familiar sound of paws on the wood floor and the little jangle of a leash. And I know that it is Rosie the Coonhound coming to say to me, "Scott, wake up. It's a new day. Aren't you excited?" And I hop out of bed and go downstairs and let Rosie out. And it is a new day. And I am grateful. Birds are singing. Plants are beginning to grow. It is spring in this corner of Wisconsin. And it is a gift to see that and to be a part of that creation that's unfolding all around me. I have recently prayed morning prayer and evening prayer on Zoom with members of my parish, something I never thought I would do before. And it brings me joy to see their faces and to find this new and creative way to praise God. Last Sunday on Easter, we connected via FaceTime with my wife's parents, who are both in their late 80s. They were unable to be with any other family members due to social distancing. So for Easter dinner, Jenna's dad held up a plate to show us they were using their fine china. And together, we prayed a meal prayer. He later sent us a picture showing us that he had captured that moment of us praying with them on his iPad. And they had set it down on the table so that as they were eating, they could also be looking at us. Also last Sunday morning, Easter morning, I was giving a little recorded Easter greeting to members of my parish. Somebody had pulled over on the side of the road, rolled down her window, listened to my words, and then when I was done, shouted, "Happy Easter!" And I shouted the same back to her, and we shared together a moment of joy. And this is just within the last few days. Joy is part of our journey of faith. It's really one of the gifts that God gives us. And really, I think one thing maybe that I'm learning from this pandemic, maybe you are too, is that joy is not necessarily something that we have to attach to circumstances or to things going well or being perfect or being the way that we want them to be. In other words, joy isn't always a direct reaction to all going smoothly. Joy sometimes can be found in very unlikely situations or places or circumstances. And one of the gifts of our faith, I think, is to help us find and experience and know joy where perhaps we would least think to look for it. Somebody in the Christian tradition who I think has been a wonderful example of this is Julian of Norwich. Julian was a mystic, somebody who had wonderful close experiences of God and really reckoned as a saint, a very holy person. She lived in the village of Norwich from 1342 to sometime shortly after 1416. Julian lived during a time when the devastating effects of the Black Plague were certainly in her village and all around her. There's a great deal of pain and suffering in the lives of people at that time. Julian herself spent a good deal of the last part of her life as an anchoress, somebody who had purposely lived in a very small enclosed cell that was attached to a parish church. And people sometimes would line up outside her cell and they would come and share with her some of the struggles of their hearts and their lives. And Julian would offer them support and prayer and counsel. And in the midst of this really kind of bleak time and in the midst of this really very closed-in, sequestered life, Julian was somebody who found tremendous joy. Reflecting on the cross of Jesus Christ and on the gift of new life that is ours in Him, she wrote down, she prayed, "The worst has been done, and all has been mended, and all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well." And a little later on, in a time of offering some spiritual counsel and really trying to resonate with people who were struggling and having a hard time, she spoke to the people of her time and to all the generations thereafter and to us today. She said, God did not say you will not be tormented. God did not say that you will not be weary or that you will not struggle. God did say you will not be overcome. And there is joy in that, in simply knowing and understanding that in the midst of what we struggle with, in the midst of those times of difficulty, the joy is in knowing that we are not alone, that God continues to be present to us and continues to walk with us. There are little glimpses of joy even right now all around us. At least in my neck of the woods, there's talk of flattening the curve of those who are being diagnosed. There's beginning to be maybe just whispers of people talking about what it might look like when we can reconnect with one another again. And although that's not an option today, we continue, I think, to hold on to that. But here's the thing. Let's not put everything on that, but let's remember in the meantime to celebrate and be aware of and be grateful for those moments of joy, no matter how small, ordinary, or unlikely they may seem. Another saintly person here from America, Dorothy Day, often referred to this as the duty of delight. In other words, finding that moment of joy and gratitude and grace, even where one would not expect to find it. So I want to maybe just ask you to think a little bit about some of the moments of joy that you might have experienced during these very difficult and struggle-filled times. What are the moments of joy, the moments of grace, the moments of blessing? Let's continue to be aware of those times of joy, be grateful for them, and when they occur, let's be sure and name them and express a prayer of thanks. All right, until next time, check on your neighbor, wash your hands, take good care of yourself, and may God continue to bless and watch over all of us. Amen.